All right, let's jump right into this, because I think we've all wondered about it. What would actually happen if you quit social media cold turkey for a whole month? We're going to break down this wild 30-day experiment and see what really goes on inside your brain when you finally log off.
Oh, you absolutely know the one. It's 2 a.m., your eyes are burning, and you're just scrolling mindlessly. Your brain feels like it's just running on some weird low-power default setting. It's that zombie scroll that so many of us fall into, and honestly, that feeling is exactly what kicked off this entire journey.
So, here were the rules of the game. Simple, but wow, pretty brutal. For 30 days straight, zero access to the apps designed for that infinite scroll. We're talking no Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube Shorts, absolutely nothing that can pull you down that rabbit hole. The real goal here? To see what would happen to focus, to mood, to everything, really.
Now, let's get one thing straight before we go any further. This is not about shaming anyone for being on their phone. Not at all. It's really about getting curious, you know? It's about asking, what are we missing out on when our brains are constantly being fed this diet of super fast, bite-sized content?
Okay, so week 1. You got to brace yourself because this is where it gets really, really tough. You can think of it as a kind of digital withdrawal. It's totally predictable, actually. Your brain is just so used to getting its fix that when you suddenly take it away, it starts to protest. And believe me, that protest feels very real.
And this is just so relatable, isn't it? The physical habit, the muscle memory was so deeply wired that even with the apps deleted, the hands just kept reaching, picking up the phone, unlocking it, and then that weird, empty feeling of realizing, oh, right, there's nothing to check. It's kind of wild how deep these habits go.
So what is actually happening in your head? Well, it all comes down to one little chemical, dopamine. See, these apps are literally engineered to give your brain a tiny little reward, a hit of dopamine, every single time you refresh and see a new like, a new video, a new anything. When you cut that supply off, your brain basically feels like its favorite snack bar just closed down, permanently.
And that feeling of loss, it shows up in some really specific ways. You start to feel restless, especially in those little moments of boredom, like waiting in line for coffee. Then there's that nagging little voice, that urge to just check in, even though you know there's nothing there. And of course, the big one kicks in, FOMO, that fear of missing out. Your brain starts whispering, hey, what's everyone else looking at right now? But then, after you push through that first gnarly week, something amazing starts to happen. That constant nagging urge begins to fade, and what replaces it is something we can call the refocus effect. It's like your brain is slowly starting to remember how to function without being interrupted every 30 seconds.
And this chart just shows the difference so perfectly. It's night and day. Before, the brain was constantly switching tasks, which led to these little spikes of anxiety and just feeling reactive all the time. But after? We're talking 30, even 40 minutes of actual, uninterrupted deep work. The whole baseline mood becomes calmer, more stable. You just don't fall down those distracting rabbit holes nearly as often.
But let's be real, it wasn't all sunshine and productivity. There was a tricky part. All that newfound silence, it felt really uncomfortable at first. Super weird. Suddenly there was no digital escape hatch, no easy way to just see what's up. And learning to just sit with that quiet, that was its own challenge.
Now we're getting to the final stretch, days 22 to 30. This is where the truly unexpected side effects of living life beyond the feed start popping up. Some of them were wonderful, and some were just plain weird.
The good stuff was really good. Instead of just double-tapping a friend's photo, there were more actual phone calls, more plans to meet up. The relationships just felt richer. There was this calmer feeling inside, a less reactive inner world. And without the phone always there as an easy out, things like workouts and study sessions just naturally got more focused and consistent. And this brings us to what might be the biggest insight of all. That feeling of intense boredom, or even feeling a little lonely, it wasn't a sign that something was broken. It was simply that the brain was completely out of practice. It had forgotten how to just be alone with its own thoughts, without a screen to run to.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. A full 30 days is a lot. It can feel pretty intimidating. So if you're feeling inspired but maybe not ready for the full plunge, here is an awesome actionable plan you can literally start today. It's a 7-day mini detox, designed to give your brain a reset without having to go completely off the grid.
All right, let's really walk through this. Days 1 and 2 are all about taking back control of your environment. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. This isn't just for peace and quiet, it stops the constant little dopamine pings that hijack your focus. Then, hide the addictive apps in a folder on your last screen. You're breaking that automatic muscle memory. Then, for days 3 and 4, you're going to actively replace the habit. When you feel that twitchy urge to scroll, you swap it. Go for a quick walk, read a chapter of a book, just do something else. You're literally teaching your brain that it can get a satisfying reward from something other than a screen. Finally, days 5 through 7, you create a dedicated no-scroll window. Maybe it's from 7 to 10 p.m. This is like taking your focus muscle to the gym. You're proving to your brain that it can survive and actually thrive without that constant stream of information.
And here's the best part. After just 7 days of doing this, your brain actually starts to recalibrate. The urges don't just magically disappear, but they change. They start to feel less like an urgent screaming command and more like quiet background noise that you can easily choose to ignore.
So, after going through the whole 30 days, what was the biggest lesson? What's the new normal? Well, it turns out it wasn't about demonizing technology forever. It was about totally changing the relationship you have with it.
And this right here is the absolute heart of it. The real takeaway wasn't that social media is some evil force. It was the realization that my brain had literally forgotten how to do some really essential human things. How to be quiet, how to sit with boredom, and how to be truly, fully present in a moment. The detox was really just a crash course in relearning those skills.
So I guess that just leaves one final question, and this one's for you. After hearing all this, seeing the journey and the results, which path feels right? Are you thinking of jumping into the full 30-day detox? Or does starting with that powerful 7-day challenge feel like the right first step? Either way, the journey just starts with day 1.